everybody, welcome back to the Scentual Fragrance channel. Thank you so much for stopping by today. My name is Benjamin and I review fragrances, colognes, perfumes, and all things scent related. So if you want to learn how to smell great, if you want to find fantastic fragrances and learn about them, I'm here to help you. So first off, before I jump into this head-to-head battle, this head-to-head clash between two fragrances, and we got to choose a winner, I have to disclose in full honesty that I did get these decants for free for review. The first one, this Aventus Cologne, this decant here, I got it from the Fragrance Decant Boutique, and Scentual Obsessions was generous enough to send this to me for review. This decant here, very generous, and I appreciate them both. Both of my review is always honest. I'm not being partial here, but of course, take that into consideration if you want to. So let's talk about both of these fragrances in this head-to-head battle and choose a winner. So first off, let's talk about the openings of this fragrance, then we'll talk about the mids and the bases, and then the price and the compliment factor. So with the openings, let's start with Aventus Cologne. The Aventus Cologne smells much better in the opening, but it doesn't last for very long at all. The opening to me smells more like Aventus without the pineapple, so it's a little bit more citrusy, and you can notice the black currant, and it's very nice. And I really wish that the whole fragrance smelled like the opening. So that's the opening of this fragrance. It smells very nice. It smells much more natural than the Scentual Obsessions, and I think is what is going to really draw people into the fragrance. It's definitely going to get them, you know, loving it. It's going to remind them of Aventus a little bit. With the Scentual Obsessions, it smells a little bit more on the lemon side. You're getting a little bit more of that classic Aventus smell with the pineapple. I do feel like the opening does have a little pop of lemon, just a small amount, and it's nice. But as far as Aventus fruity fragrances go, the opening is not the most exciting. Even though it's nice and definitely pleasurable, but it's definitely going to win back, you know, fight back with the dry down. So let's talk about the mid. The mid with Aventus Cologne becomes much more herbal, and we got to talk about the transition of the fragrance too. After the opening, which is very nice, it changes and it doesn't transition very well. It becomes very nice and bright, and then quickly becomes and goes into the mid and almost becomes flat, like a citrus aromatic fragrance instead of more of a bright citrusy musky kind of fragrance. I felt that was very shocking, and I felt like the fragrance even was rushed. So it's kind of a quick transition, and it doesn't transition very smoothly. And then in the mid, you're getting more of like a floral, not a floral, but kind of like an herbal heart. I think there's some rosemary and maybe a little bit of basil. It smells a little bit herbal, maybe a touch green, just a little bit. But definitely this fragrance starts to remind you of the Allure Homme DNA. No doubt about that for me. And really different and really shocking. And perhaps for a lot of people, not what they wanted and not what they expected. With the mid, you begin to notice with the Scentual Obsessions the clone that this is going to be a little bit of a linear fragrance. Not a huge negative though. It smells very nice, and you begin to notice that it's definitely a pineapple Aventus Cologne kind of thing, and it has a little bit more of a citrusy nature to it. But you definitely notice that this smells similar to Pineapple Vintage Intense by the House of Parfums Vintage, which was a very smart move and a very good move, because that fragrance sells like hotcakes, and that fragrance is really liked by a lot of people. Again, their customer service isn't the best, and they haven't responded to me about their fragrances needing to age, or why the openings sometimes seem so jarring to people. But I actually am going to be recommending this fragrance over Pineapple Vintage Intense in the near future. So that's just saying something right now. It's a little bit linear, but boy, does this fragrance you start to notice that it's going to perform. The projection and the longevity, you can tell, are going to be around for a good long time. And definitely smell very good. Again, this Aventus smells higher quality. It again has a little bit of an interesting kind of sweet herbal nuances. Actually is not bad at all, but it's probably not what you expected, and is not as a mass appealing as you might think, as what you were expecting with Aventus Cologne. So let's jump into the dry downs then. With the dry down of Aventus Cologne, those herbal nuances dissipate, and you're left with something that smells a little bit more of like a classic aromatic fragrance, again with that Allure Homme DNA, and you get something that smells a little bit mellow, something that's not as bright, it's not as fun, and it doesn't really become ambergris-like. That's one of the huge negatives. They did not put the classic Aventus Creed ambergris in this fragrance. It doesn't provide the salty edge or the kind of muskiness that you would expect. The muskiness in this fragrance smells not near as good in my opinion, and probably is some kind of mix with patchouli and tonka, and it just smells a little bit more of it doesn't smell as pleasant. It's as there or near as good as the ambergris dry downs of most Creed fragrances. So the dry down is a negative for me, no doubt about it. And final performance with this one, with the Aventus Cologne, it's giving me 3 hours longevity, maybe 4. And again, overall, I just don't enjoy this fragrance as much overall. I was expecting something that was very bright and very happy, and again, a cologne style fragrance. Instead, it's a little bit more herbal, it's a little bit more on the aromatic side, and it just doesn't perform near as well as I think it should. With the dry down of Scentual Obsessions, it just is more linear, no doubt about it. It becomes a little bit more musky and transparent as it dries down, so the pineapple as it dries down in the final stages really isn't noticeable, and it just becomes kind of a clear, musky, almost pheromone-like isoe super kind of DNA. So that's not a terrible thing. I do wish that the pineapple really hung on for, you know, the entirety of the fragrance, but this fragrance outperforms Aventus Cologne, no doubt about it. It gives me 6 or maybe 7 hours if I spray it on clothes. It's very nice. I feel like the fragrance overall, shockingly to say, is, you know, structured, or the composition is better in the Scentual Obsessions fragrance than the Aventus Cologne. So my final thoughts. Again, Aventus Cologne is very nice. It definitely has the better quality, but for value for money, I don't know if you know, but you can get a full 4-ounce bottle of this juice for $45, which is an amazing value for money. If you're a fragrance head like me and don't need a big bottle of any fragrance, you can get a 1-ounce bottle for about $20, which is actually not bad at all either. So definitely, this one has a huge value, bang for your buck. And Aventus Cologne, it started out closer to $500, now it's closer to $400, maybe $350. And soon enough, you'll be able to find a really good deal on these, probably closer to $250 or so. But again, that's a lot of money for a fragrance, especially that it doesn't perform, and it doesn't smell like I wanted it to or thought it should at all. Overall, final rating, this was a really hard choice because, again, the quality goes to Aventus, the performance goes to Scentual Obsessions, and the difference in smell and composition is probably the biggest factor. You probably suspected that the clone was going to outperform the original, but is the smell, you know, in Scentual Obsessions, does it stand up to Aventus Cologne at all? I would say yes. If I had to give a rating on the smell, again, I don't like the transition and the overall smell of Creed Aventus, but I would probably give the Creed Aventus Cologne a solid, I don't know, 7.5, and the Scentual Obsessions is a solid 7. It doesn't smell the most natural, but it smells very nice, and for the performance that you're getting, it is a solid fragrance. Now, with the Scentual Obsessions clone winning, I do want to give it a quick comparison to Insurrection Pure 2, which, as y'all know, that fragrance is amazing for the money. $20 or sometimes less. It's going to give you 4 or 5 hours of performance. It smells very airy, very wispy, very nice. It's nice and it's very, very mass appealing for an Aventus Cologne. That one doesn't smell near as natural as this. This one smells denser, this one projects better, and this one lasts longer. And if you buy the full, 4-ounce bottle, you're getting a much better bang for your buck, which or just about the same price as the Insurrection Pure 2. So that is kind of a hard choice. If you wanted my suggestion, I would suggest the guys go for the, Scentual Obsessions, and the ladies, because it's so light, it's so playful, and it's kind of aromatic, I would suggest that ladies go for the Insurrection Pure 2. So, final thoughts. Again, I hope this video hasn't been too long, but 2 big, very popular fragrances going head to head, and the winner definitely for me is the Scentual Obsessions. And I'm not being paid to say this, I'm not being encouraged to say this, this is my own opinion. In my final thoughts and my final opinion, I honestly think that the Pineapple Vintage Intense is probably the best way to go. But again, their customer service, and that they won't respond to me about their fragrances needing to either age or that perhaps they've been reformulated, I don't know if I could suggest them as the fragrance to go to. I still want to find a fragrance for myself that smells bright and strong, and there's some clones out there that I want to try. Of course, y'all know that Club de Nuit Intense Man is smoky and has excellent performance if you want a masculine kind of Aventus fragrance. And L'Aventure Blanche by the House of Al Haramain is a solid Aventus Cologne, Aventus fragrance, but definitely we're talking about Aventus Cologne in this review. So these are my final thoughts. Thank y'all so much for being here today. Thank y'all so much for watching my videos and supporting me. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if you like my content, if I could have shortened this video, or if I should have shortened this video. And thank y'all again so much for all that you do. Of course, wear what you love, and I'll see y'all next time. This has been the Scentual Fragrance Channel. I'll see ya. Have a great day. Have a great week, and I'll see ya. Bye.